This video is for you if you are not good at sticking to things for the long term when you don't see the results straight away. Ask yourself, for how long are you willing to keep applying your effort without seeing any sign of reward yet? I think everyone in life has something they get curious about enough to want to explore more deeply. For example, my sister does rope climbing and bouldering. I've seen her do route after route after route, week after week after week. And as a result, she gets better and better at climbing. The reason why she gets better is because of certain qualities that I will touch on later in this video. In the past, I have dealt with this issue of giving up too quickly. It was to do with my relationship with time, which has been quite skewed. A day for me felt too short, and a year for me felt too long. Looking both at what I needed to do today and my prospect of being a better version of myself felt like a pressure pot which could explode at any moment. This was until I relaxed. The first thing my coach and mentor asked me when I began working with her was my age, which was 28 at that time. And then she told me her age, she's in her 70s. And then she told me the most unexpected thing I thought I would hear from a coach, that I had time. And after that first whole year of working with her, yes, it took a whole year, time became my friend. Not an enemy who wants to catch me out at any moment. When time became a friend and not an enemy, my nervous system relaxed and I became less anxious about what I wanted or needed to do and more on why I wanted to do them. I clarified my dreams in life and I decided to get just a little bit better at developing the skills necessary to reach the bigger dream. I set my expectations really low. Instead of saying I will paint or write for 1 hour, I focused on turning up. A lot of us allow life to lead us into our circumstances, and don't get me wrong, I love spontaneous and serendipitous events in life. But if you are like me, and you tend to fall into the trap of being too in your head and you overthink too many things, then it is worth experimenting the opposite, which is to get curious about how we want our lives to be. And once you find something you want to work on, begin. So let's say it is to look your best self and develop a strong, beautiful body, and you start going to the gym maybe 3 times a week. In that experience alone, watch when you begin how your inner gremlins start to come out. Now you're putting so much effort into growing your muscles. Anything like our health or work or relationships that bring a lot of benefit and meaning into our lives require assertion of our efforts. Just like muscles do not grow until they are put under tension, neither do we. And in the beginning, you can see some changes, the beginner's gains as they call it. And then there comes a time when the amount of commitment and time and effort you're putting into training doesn't seem to have a direct correlation with the results that you are not seeing. You begin to doubt yourself. You are harder on yourself. Sometimes you end up training too hard and sometimes not at all. It becomes an experience of catching up rather than working steadily with time. At one point, you might even begin to question your decision entirely. And not giving things enough time and quitting is a mistake that we often fall into. Impatience is our biggest enemy in the path towards our goals and dreams. Time is our greatest teacher, persistence is our friend, and beliefs are our lifeline. Now, whilst we are so focused on the reward, the ultimate result, which we feel we are owed, because of all the time, effort, thinking, passion that we are putting into these goals, we actually end up closing off our minds like horses who have blinders on. When really what is happening here is we are actually gaining results and rewards in many other things. In the beginning of this video, I talked about my sister. Both her and her partner are avid climbers. I asked them about their ultimate goal in climbing, and this is what they said. Climbing is a mental and physical challenge. To complete a route requires them to think with their minds and to problem solve at every single point. From doing this, they begin to fall into a state of flow and the process becomes addictive. For every cause, there is an effect. And if they say they will fall, it is most likely that they will fall. For every challenge they face on a climb, there presents the opportunity to work on their mindset. They have every opportunity on that climb to say, I can and I will do it. The joy then comes from seeing these tiny improvements mentally and physically. Now, if we go back to our example of building muscle, you might have started out with the goal of having an incredible body, but through the experience of working towards it, you fall in love with how exercising improves your overall physical fitness and your mental health. You begin to think more clearly at work. You can now go on longer hikes with your loved ones. When we fail to take our blinders off, we fail to continue. We fail to see that the other qualities and experiences that give back to us time and time again for every effort we make. We develop these following qualities: discipline and grit. I would define this as being able to approach things with mental steadiness to achieve long-term goals. Focus and time, malleability, and emotional management. I will expand on these qualities in a future video, but my point being, as we walk on the journey towards our dreams and goals, we need to widen our perspective on how much we are growing as humans. This is a commitment to ourselves. I have found that it is the internal growth that will allow me to achieve my external goals. My challenge for this year is that if I start something, I would stick to it for one whole year without making quick judgment and decisions, but instead to stay curious in the journey, to remind myself of the person who started out on this path with so much hope and intention and clarity that I felt before even taking my first step. So if you have something you've always wanted to try, stick to it for at least a year. We can become the idols we look up to simply from continuing. It is a complete mystery in life to predetermine how our dreams and goals will be fulfilled. This is something that is outside of our control. But with that unknown and us still going for it, it's definitely an act of faith for ourselves that we can and we will. And perhaps it was never about the dream in the first place. I read this quote in a book the other day. Your life journey is just that, a journey. And if you are to complete it, then you know the end was never the point.